Hello YouTube! This is your Norwegian Viking, Thorstein from Cinema Terror speaking. And let's travel back to the 70s and check out how Hollywood portrayed us in the 1978 action-adventure film The Norseman. The film starts out with an opening scroll telling us the backstory. It tells us that the adventure we are about to embark on is set back in 793 AD, when a group of blonde, giant Vikings came sailing over the ice-cold north to the American shore. And just to let you know, not all of us Vikings over here are big, blonde and muscular. Some of us just look dead and hungover, like me. Anyways, our gang of Vikings, led by Thorvald, is on their way on a rescue mission to save his father, King Jurik, who never returned from his trip to the unmarked lands of America. When they arrive at the shore, the Vikings are met with some Native Americans who are not too pleased to see them and does not give them a friendly welcome. Are the big bold Vikings able to get their king away from the equally war-savvy natives? You'll have to find and watch The Norseman to find out. So, where do I start on this one? The Norseman is ridiculous, just ridiculous. Some of it was to be expected, like the helmets having those silly horns on it, but somehow this film made everything feel extra ridiculous. Not only are there horns on the Viking helmets, but these are furry. You know, to keep the horns warm or something. The costumes are also more funny than anything else. I have no idea what Roman Empire Roger Corman production they got these so-called Viking outfits from, but it does not come close to looking authentic. The natives look like they came right off an Italian cannibal film, so I don't think they did much better in that regards either. In fact, the entire conflict of the film is also terrible. I will go into minor spoiler territory here, so do be warned, although I don't think the following information will change your viewing experience of the film. The reason why the Vikings and the Native Americans started fighting in the first place here is because of good old jealousy. The big chief of the natives was not fond of the brewing romance between one of the native girls and a sweaty bearded Viking. That was it. That was enough to go to war with the Vikings, and the only reason for the bloodshed that comes along in this slow movie. If you're first going to do a big brawl between Vikings and Native Americans, then I'm sure you should be able to come up with something more interesting than that. If not, then somebody should have made someone go back and change it to something more intriguing. Speaking of the Native Americans, they are portrayed even worse than the Vikings. They are cringeworthy bad, and there is no attempt at giving them a good portrayal at all. Instead, it feels like the filmmakers had an idea of displaying the bravery and brotherhood of the Vikings. Even with all the bad choices, I do believe that there was a more grandiose idea here originally. That big idea probably included more than one puny Viking ship crossing the sea to rescue their king. Another weird choice is the addition of Thrall, played by Deacon Jones. Apparently he was recruited to join our gang as he was able to cut off the tongue of Olaf, played by Jimmy Clem. Not sure how that would have worked, but okay. So not only do we have the first Black Viking, and just by saying that I wish there was a 70s blaxploitation film with the title Black Viking. But they also name him Thrall, and if you don't know, and I'm guessing most wouldn't, Thrall is basically a word used for slaves during the Viking era. I'm not sure what they were thinking by giving the only black character in the film a slave name, but hey, it was the 70s, and awkward weird stuff like that is funny to look back at now. They don't do anything with Thrall at all, so I wonder what the intent with him was in the first place, as this character alone couldn't possibly do anything to bring in a black audience for the film. The leading character Thorvald is just as unbelievable, as Lee Majors and his 70s moustache looks as far from a Norwegian Viking named Thorvald as you could possibly come. I'm guessing that they needed a big star at the time to get the film produced, but talk about miscasting a character. Majors does what he usually do, and while it can be fun in some films, it just does not work here, and it's not terrible enough to keep laughing at him after the 30-minute mark either.
The day that I turn my sails and hide from a new enemy will be the day that I become like a woman in my homeland. Asking you now, since when have we as Norsemen ever turned our backs in seeking out our own kind? Never. Never. When that day approaches in the life of a Norseman, we will all drop our swords into the deepest part of our mother sea.
There is also a Viking wizard, who does not do all that much magical stuff. Looking past a weird skill he suddenly has at the end of the film, I have no idea why he was in the film in the first place. If you are going to introduce a wizard, then make him do something, regardless of how ridiculous it might have felt in a film that tries to be realistic. One I do not want to bash, except for the terrible fake facial hair, is the inclusion of Mel Ferrer as the king. You just can't go wrong with some Ferrer in a production like this. I speak a lot about the characters in the film for a reason, as there isn't that much else going on, and there is a strangely huge amount of slow motion being used there. I can't remember that other action-adventure flicks did that back then, but I might be wrong. The Norseman is a bad film, and another one that has been forgotten for a reason. It gave me some chuckles due to how funny the portrayals of the Viking and the Native Americans were, but it's not funny enough to keep the entire film entertaining. Ultimately, the Norseman ended up boring me for most parts, so I can't recommend this to anyone, Norwegian or not. The Norseman only gets a score of 2 out of 5. Have you seen The Norseman? Do you think it has some redeeming qualities to it, or is it just bullshit that deserves to be forgotten? Any other adventure films like this that you would recommend more people to check out? The only film that I have reviewed that comes close to this is The Warrior and the Sorceress with David Carradine from 1984. This is one of the first reviews I did on this site, so while I do think the movie is good, beware that the quality of the review video is pretty shitty. Like and give good feedback if you want me to check out more movies like this. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again here on Cinema Terror.